Hello, Jessica Rose.
Good morning, Erika.
Jessica Rose, you put that fake voice on. I don't even know what to do.
It's not a fake voice.
Do you really talk to people like that?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, I do.
Jessica Rose is a very quiet talker.
Am I?
When Jessica Rose wanders by with her laptop, I have to like get my listening ears
Oh,
out.
I'm sorry. I'm either full volume screaming or like really quiet. I've noticed. I don't know what that is.
This is a good level for
Okay.
you. All right. So what are we doing, Jessica Rose?
We are going over your calendar. So this week you are actually going to be in Florida.
Yes, I am.
Do you want to talk about that?
No, I don't. I need a day off. I'm having a day off.
She's going to be vibing in Florida, everybody. It'll be fun.
I don't vibe in Florida. Can you imagine? I'm like, my best story in Florida is I had to go to a strip club. I had to go to 11. Do you know what 11 is? 11 is like a fancy club. And
Which part of Florida?
Oh, in Miami. And
Okay.
The Barstool guys loved it. Gaz just loved 11. And I was having a meeting with them. I forget. We were trying to do something. I forget. We were trying to have some kind of deal. And they were like, yeah, sure. Do you want to meet at like midnight at 11? And I was like, sure. So I showed up in like a white turtleneck.
That's back to the
It's like,
club?
yes, it was terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so I'm not, I wear too much wool to be a vibe in Florida, but whatever. Okay, so we're doing that.
So you're out for most of the week, but
Okay.
when you get back, you do have an event for the Local Moms Network.
Oh, I do. I'm very excited
Yeah.
about the Local Moms Network. Okay, that's great. In New Jersey. Sarthic's going to New Jersey.
Yep.
And do you want to talk about Rework or no? 'Cause
Yes,
by that
I
point it'll be
do.
out.
I do. I'm going to do that today, which I guess I'll do right now. So Rework is a program we're going to launch at Schoolhouse and Food 52. And the goal is that we get closer with moms and we get closer with women who are living, working, caring for people, styling, making the most of dealing with all the chaos at home. And one of the things that I feel really strongly about is that we are going to be at our strongest as a company if we really, really understand our customer. And moms are our customer. And I don't feel like the company has been as intuitive and aligned and kind of supportive of moms as we could be, and I'm very eager to do that. So Rework is a program which sounds like this podcast. So the idea is you're kind of reworking how you think about your career, which is something that I think is happening a lot for women who work at home. Or work for their family. I don't know what the right word is for that, but women who care, whose job it is to care for kids and a family and a wife or a husband or a partner and to make the world of home work. And so what Rework will be is a program where moms can apply to work for Food 52 and Schoolhouse. There will be all different types of jobs in this program, so anything from graphic design to copywriting to customer service. I have this idea that we can bring moms in and help other moms think about how to use Schoolhouse, buy Schoolhouse, feature Schoolhouse, install Schoolhouse. So I'm excited about it. We announced it on Friday at the Local Moms Conference, which is called the Pillar Conference in Connecticut. And I'm excited to see how it does.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I think it'll be great. I think this is actually like a really unique opportunity because I do think that there are so many people. I mean, I'm on your socials. I see the messages and the comments all the time from people saying like, I've been out of work for so long. Like, I don't even know if I can go back. Like, I think that this is a really great way to reintegrate women who have had to step away for their families or had to step away
they
for
wanna
any
get
other
back.
reason and they want to get back. Yeah, why not?
I'm very excited about it.
It'll be great.
Mary Busby is my pilot. Mary Busby is like my greatest experiment. So I'm excited. Mary Busby's going to help me with it. Jessica's going to help me. Sarthic's going to help me. And then we're going to get some fabulous moms in here who will work harder than anybody here and probably put us all out of jobs. So I think that's great.
Yeah, so that's your date Thursday.
Okay.
And then Friday.
I have a lot of meetings
You have a
Friday.
lot of meetings
Yeah.
on Friday.
It's gonna be an
so
ugly
a
Friday.
few one-on-ones. We have Alicia. That'll be the end of her first week. So that'll be
Yep.
a bunch of stuff related to her. We have our schoolhouse designer roundtable,
Yep.
so that'll be exciting. Talking to all the designers that
Yep.
work for Schoolhouse, which is great.
Work with Schoolhouse, yep.
And then we have product check-in.
Ooh, and then I have a big interview.
And you
Did
have
we
a
tell
big-
did we tell the other people about the interview? Did you tell them it's scheduled?
No. Which interview?
You need to tell that guy, yes.
Okay.
You need to tell the other people that that's happening. Oh, and then I have a podcast. Jesus, I am not messing around on a Friday. I hate a full Friday. Do you hate a full Friday?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I moved out into cube life this week. So today's my,
that?
like, sitting next to you.
Oh,
So I've moved out of my office.
It's not even a cube, it's like open floor.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what? I didn't
Oh,
even connect.
I
It
mean,
is a
it's
cube.
It's
yeah.
a cube without a wall.
Yeah. It's cube life.
So I moved onto the floor that as part of the changes here, and it's amazing to me how much people talk at work. People just shoot the shit all day long. I literally put the timer on my phone this morning because I was listening to the people who sit behind the screen I look at, and I was like, Jesus, it's like a 27-minute shoot the shit about snowboarding in Utah. And I was like, that's nice. When are we going to start talking about work? And then I'm just going to pretend I'm sitting here. So
I think a lot of people here multitask.
I
know
I don't think
definitely-
there was that much
Well, maybe-
multitasking. But I was like,
I can have a
this is the
conversation
single
while
best
I'm
thing
like,
I've done in a while. Yeah. Well, that is true. The yep, you know.
Yeah.
But the other person is clearly not working.
was not typing away.
I thought
You
that
couldn't
was
hear the
interesting. I
concept
also get
back.
to see when everybody comes to work, which I'm also like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. I can't believe I didn't do that for a year.
Yeah.
Do you like sitting next to me?
I love sitting next to you.
Shut up.
No, I do. No, I produce all your content. I love it. I have more access to you.
Sarthik is funny. I'm the distracted employee with Sarthik. I just talk to Sarthik all day. He's like, stop talking to me.
I do think it's easier to have you on the floor just
It's
in
nice.
general.
Yeah, I
Because
like
then
it.
you're not like in an office and I feel
Yeah.
like people are hesitant to
Yeah.
like ask you stuff that they need right away. That would
I
just
think
take 2
it's good.
seconds, you know?
I think that's been a mistake I made, so I'm excited about that. All right,
Fun.
then I have a podcast.
You have a
Then I have 2
podcast.
more one-on-ones.
And
That
that's your Friday and that's your week.
That's my week. All right, I like it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jessica Rose.
Thank you, Erica.
Welcome back to Work. This is our podcast where we talk about anything and everything at work. Somebody's walking down the hall right now. Do you hear that? Who do you think's coming? Oh, they're going the other way? All right, never mind. Nobody's coming. It's just us. We've had a busy couple weeks here at Schoolhouse and Food 52. There's a lot of opinions about what's happening here, which is great. It's good to be relevant. I'm excited about it. Obviously, we're going through a ton of change, which I'll talk about for a second. And then we will get into our regularly scheduled programming. We are talking about generational knowledge with Jenna, which is exciting. We will have a teaching segment. I haven't figured out what that will be yet, but it'll be something. We'll talk about current events, including that ridiculous video of the guy in the Saratoga water that everyone under the age of 35 here is just obsessed with. And then what else will we do? We'll talk about my calendar. We'll talk about Strategery. And that's about it. Does that work? Okay. All right, so let's just give a quick roundup of where we are at Schoolhouse and Food 52. There's been a lot written about it. I think we were included in the Business of Home podcast. Obviously, we're going through a huge amount of change here, so that goes without saying. I also really have been spending a lot of time thinking about how you move your way to the future, and I think a lot of times moving your way to the future involves putting blinders on and staying really focused on the task at hand and what the problem and or the opportunity is. And I actually feel really, really good about that. I think when you go through something as big as making a very, very hard turn or a very sharp pivot, and when you go through something where you're losing a lot of staff, it takes you a beat to just get your head back in the game. And I think there's a morning, it's like the 12 steps. There's a morning, you're angry, you're resentful, you're in denial, you feel sadness, and then you start to look up and about and you're like, wow, this could actually be a really good thing for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So that I'm out of the fog, and that's how I'm choosing to look at it, and I feel really good about it. I think the biggest things for us, Schoolhouse is a beloved brand in the lighting space and in the home furnishing sector. Schoolhouse is going to stay as unique and quirky and full of character and colorful as it's always been. That's what Schoolhouse is. What Schoolhouse isn't going to do is to have business processes and structures that just don't make sense. One of the things we have struggled with, and I've really gotten my hands into the last year, is just how hard it is for us to deliver for our customers. I think last year at this time, we were still shipping out holiday orders from the year before. Like, you can't run a business if you're shipping out holiday orders in March after Christmas. Like, you're dead. So we need to fix that. We have had quality issues that we want to fix. We got to fix that. We need to find a way to have items in stock. If you go to the Schoolhouse website today, I go to the Schoolhouse website literally every day. And I'm like, God, I love that plaid wool rug. And God, I love the ashlar. And God, I love this lighting. But half of it's out of stock. Like, you can't run a great shop when you don't have the things that people want to buy. And so a lot of what we're doing is getting back to the fundamentals of what does it take to serve our customer really, really well. First, it takes distinct design. That will be done in Portland. We have a phenomenal design team. They were here in New York last week. The excitement is palpable. I think I always say palatable, but it's actually palpable. Two is we need to have great partners. And the other piece that the design team has been really focused on is how do we create better partnerships? One of the things when I first got here is there weren't contracts with, I would say, like 85% of the companies we worked with. And when we did have a contract, it was pretty bad. So how do we have great contracts that are fair, that are equitable, that are durable, that allow you to change and evolve over time, or as your partner changes and evolves over time? The third piece is relationships. We have to become far more intuitive to what our customers want. We just talked about this in the rework idea, but the idea of talking to our customers every day, all day is super, super important. Like, I don't want to be Amazon. I could never be Amazon, but Jeff Bezos's whole thing on be customer obsessed is a good thing for a business in the consumer space. We need to be more customer obsessed. And then lastly, we need to find a way to make it great to work here. This is a company that's been through a huge amount of change. Every company that is in the retail sector or e-commerce or D2C sector and lived and survived COVID had like incredible highs, incredible lows. Every single company in this space right now is trying to grow profitably, and trying to grow profitably means you have to think differently about scale. You have to think differently about your investment. You have to think differently about demand. And those are all things we're going to do around a brand that has a lot of character, that has a lot of history, that has a ton of integrity and a lot of depth. So we will be doing that. It's going to mean that we change a bunch of things. We gave notice on our lease. This is the third factory space that Schoolhouse has been in Oregon. Schoolhouse is bigger than any one building. Is it sad to leave this building? Yes, absolutely. Are we leaving it anytime soon? No, absolutely not. We're leaving, I think, in 2027. And then the other piece is Schoolhouse is bigger than that. We will find other manufacturing. We will find different places to have showrooms. We will find people in Oregon and all around this country and hopefully all around the world to make our products. And we will do so with the same bar of quality that our factory team set, which in most, if not all cases, is exceptional. So I'm really excited to figure out those problems and to set Schoolhouse up for the future and to be so successful in everything it endeavors to do. And when it's not successful, that we're learning and we're adapting and we're evolving, right? That's what smart companies do. Smart companies have to evolve, and we are going to be a very smart company. So that's what's happening there. On the Food 52 side of the house, we're going to get smaller and more curated. I had a meeting today with the merchants and buyers for Schoolhouse. Like, they're excited. We have people here who haven't had the voice that they've wanted to have, and now they can. And they were taught by really incredible, special people, and they've learned from them. And, the idea of curating items for table and gift and kitchen is really special. And then we just need to make our content and tell stories and connect with people and showcase homes and talk about things that aren't covered everywhere else on the internet. And that's what we're setting out to do. So I actually feel really good about that. If I have any tips that I'm learning right now is to look forward. I think a lot of times it is very, very hard to look forward, especially when what's around you is full of emotion and also very noisy. I think that's really, really important. I also think being positive and staying focused is very important. And then having clarity and executing. I think one of the things that we've really seen in this process, and in the pivot is it's the people who have their shit together on the details that really, really matter. And being willing to dig in and do the hard work and get the specifics done is really, really important. Today I had to write a brief this morning. I have an idea for a conference. And my old life or, at a different time here, maybe someone would have written that. I would have been like, oh, can you make me a document that talks about a conference and it should look like this and this and this is for women, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? There's no one here to write that except me. So I'm going to write the brief on how to run a conference and how to put on a new type of conference. I used ChatGPT. It was awesome. And that's what it means, like harnessing the details. Like you sometimes just got to open up your computer and be like, there's nobody else to do this but me. I'm just going to do it myself. So that's my tip and trick, Sarthik.
Now work.
All right, now we're doing current events. So let's talk about the viral morning routine, which I just think is ridiculous.
Is this not your morning routine you're
This is
telling
not
me?
my morning routine.
That's, well.
We should actually do a video. Why does he have that thing on? Like, I don't get it.
So it's yeah, so that's a product that's been kind of going around, like has been I think a couple of years
You're
now.
supposed to sleep with your mouth taped shut?
That's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing now.
You know what's so funny? My mom is reading this book called Breathe, which it's like the lost art of breathing. And she was telling me how mouth breathing is really bad for you.
Yeah, that's kind of
And
the
it
whole
changes
point.
the shape of your face.
That's the whole point of it. So people put it while they sleep, so that they're breathing through their nose, and aesthetically it helps them as well.
It helps you look better?
Yeah, because it changes, like what
It
you
does
just
change
said.
your face.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't think I could ever have that discipline.
Mouth-
Okay, so let's just start there. I'm not taping my mouth up at night.
But
Wow, the mouth tape industry is a $4.76 billion industry.
and this is in the
So
last.
sorry,
like,
what's
half
it
a
going to do
decade.
to my face?
We can pivot and we can
No,
go on this tangent.
no, I don't care actually that much. Let's just keep going.
Okay, we'll go back
so
to
this
our
guy he's getting up at 4 or 5 he's getting up at 3:53 in the morning, which is just stupid. Why go to bed?
Well, 3:52.
3:52, he's waking up. He's got some type of nose thing on, and he's got
That
his
helps
mouth
you
taped.
breathe better too. So that opens up your.
First of all, like, is he not having someone, like, he clearly lives alone.
Yeah, but
You don't sleep with somebody else and you wear that thing and that thing. Do you think?
I don't think so. I don't.
I mean, and then also to be that jacked, you got to work out like 400 times a day.
But that's what he is. His online presence is like a fitness influencer, fitness / motivational influencer. That's
Okay, so he's motivating me right now by
Yep.
showing
his process.
his process.
his morning
Okay.
routine. So you want to
Understand
watch
Sarthik.
this
Okay.
minute
Yes, I'll be
long
quiet.
video?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to be serious about the Lord's business.
So looking at it, bro, we got to go ahead and get in at least 10,000. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's one video, but pretty much all of them look like this, a variation
He
of
does
sorts.
this every day.
Yes, he does this every day, and it's a variation of sorts. Some have, there's one that I saw, the first one I saw a month ago before this went viral, was where he gets up, does the same routine, and then packs his bag, and then as soon as he steps out his front door, there's a bodyguard that's waiting outside the front door, and he goes to the gym, he packed a basketball, he goes, lifts, plays basketball, and the bodyguard is in the gym just handing him the ball back. And then he runs while his bodyguard drives his expensive car next to him, and he's sprinting down the street.
Okay. So here's my 2 cents. Would you like my 2 cents?
Yes, I would love your 2 cents.
One, the Saratoga people should be so, so happy. This guy has got to be making a lot of money if you're like swishing your mouth out with Saratoga water and using it as your ice bath for your face. Like, who owns Saratoga? First of all, I love Saratoga water. Just
Yeah, I
as a
do
side
too.
note. It tastes so good.
Saratoga water sales surge after
Of
influencer-
course.
Ashton Halls is his name. Ice water morning routine goes viral.
Okay, that is not surprising at all.
So my question actually is, I'm not sure if he was already being, like, if Saratoga was a sponsor already in his videos or not. Because
I would guess that he is sponsored by Saratoga if he is a professional influencer and
Me
he
too.
gave them that much love.
me too, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe not, and now definitely.
Well, now they should.
Yeah.
But who knows if they will because they just got all this value and they didn't pay him.
That's true. That's
Okay,
true.
so one is like credit to this guy for making a video series that is going viral, right? That's what you want for every influencer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bizarre. I mean, as just a morning routine, I'm the laziest person on the planet in the morning, so, like, I'm like wandering out of the house to get on the train and like shoveling coffee in my face. But the rubbing the banana on the face is funny.
Yeah,
Like, you want potassium on your face or something?
I guess there must be some benefits that we're not privy
I think it's
to.
strange to not have a shirt on for that long. I think that's weird. I don't
It's
love
funny
that
'cause
you don't show. What's that?
You said that when we were discussing that initially.
I mean, I'm cold in the morning. I can't imagine not having a shirt on.
Yeah, it is, like, I guess, a common thing for men to not have their
Like,
shirt
do you wear
on.
a shirt like when you wake up in the morning? I actually don't want to know this. I just take it back. I didn't ask that. I don't know. I don't want to know. The other thing I think it's interesting about it is I wonder if he's doing. What is that workout where you have to write for a little bit every day?
Oh, he's 75 hard?
Yeah, I wonder, is
75
he a
hard?
75 hard guy?
I don't think so. I think he is, like, this is just, like, there are influencers who are, like, motivational influencers, fitness influencers. He's just combined the two, which in itself exists as a genre. So that's just kind of his MO, is just, like, uplifting people, showing them that sticking to the routine really affects
Yeah.
your life, and like mental over physical, and mental over physical helps your physical, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, he's a great ad for getting up at 3:53 a.m. and working out from 3:52 to, as far as I can tell, like 8:45.
yeah.
Like, I think my back would look the same maybe if I had discipline and did that. I don't know, but it's interesting.
He definitely has muscles that don't exist in my body. It's just, his back is
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
it's bananas.
It's literally bananas.
Literally bananas. All right, so that's funny. The internet's going crazy.
Yeah,
about
and the
that.
internet wasn't founded, and there was a lot of memes that went around. People are recreating his routine.
Like
and
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just skits, parody of
Yeah.
it, and he's having a lot of fun. Clearly, Saratoga is happy with it.
Yeah.
Their parent company went up stock by 11%.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Which I think is something that I wanted you to kind of like maybe give your 2 cents, because you come from Barstool World, where there are brands that find themselves in a situation where, like we said, like I don't know if they were already sponsoring him or not, but because of this one person, now there's such a big impact on the company's sales, and they're like free marketing or paid marketing regardless, but it's like it's such an interesting way how business is being conducted. Like where just one little thing,
Yeah.
and then internet finds it memes really made the stock go up
Yeah.
11%.
Yeah, I think one, you could try to plan for it, right? If you look at Stanley, right? If you look at the Stanley mugs, like that was a deliberate strategy. Like that was a seeding strategy. And then all of a sudden in all the videos of teenage girls and moms, you're seeing Stanleys. But this is kind of lightning in a bottle, where he doesn't know which video is going to take off. The memification of it is, and that was the Barstool effect of everything, which is when the crowd takes it and makes something of their own, then it becomes even more interesting. It almost becomes the question of, what does Saratoga do now?
Yeah.
I would guess Saratoga is seeing a level of sales from a type of customer which is different than the Whole Foods high-end restaurant that Saratoga probably typically targets. And I actually think that's really exciting for them. Like, if you think about luxury brands that transcend different communities, I don't know that Saratoga ever had aspiration for that, but now they're here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody was just posting the same photo of literally their shopping cart filled with Saratoga and bananas. Bananas also stocks are up, but
yeah,
no one's
100%. That's what's funny about the internet. It's like,
Yeah.
you got to keep your head on a swivel. You never know what's going to change.
I
I want to do this one. I saw this headline.
Which one?
The Google CEO.
Okay, yeah. That's what I was going to click on next.
And one of the things that Jonathan and I say in our book is that you should hire the divas. Right? Now, by the way, if you read any management text, it says don't hire the divas because they're nothing but a pain in the ass. By the way, they are. But the people who are the divas who believe, right, are the ones that will drive the culture of excellence, and they'll drive you to that excellence. Steve Jobs was a diva. I worked with Bill Joy, who was my colleague for many years. He's an example of a diva. And I mean this in the most flattering way. They expect a lot. They drive people hard. They're controversial, and they care passionately. Right? If you find those people, you're probably going to work for one. So be nice to.
I agree with that. I think that hiring people, whether you call them a diva, what Eric Schmidt is essentially saying is hire wildly talented, opinionated, maybe controversial or polarizing people who care and who are willing to go to the nth degree to have something done the right way. I don't know if that means you're a diva. I do think it means you're definitely a pain in the ass at work, but I agree that those type of people are what push things forward. I think the people who are casual about work and indifferent, it's like being in the ocean and you're just like floating versus having propulsion and moving to accomplish something. So I completely agree with that. I actually wish more people would hire people underneath them who scared them and who would be difficult to manage. because that would actually catapult people to a new place. I think a lot of times when people hire, they try to keep the aperture really small, so they hire people who are just like them or come from the same place as them. And then the second is they look for conformity and consensus versus looking for people who are outliers. Like we hired, for an example, we hired a salesperson in New York, or we hired a salesperson in Chicago. She's an outlier. She's an animal. Like she's just a killer. And credit to our head of sales who was like, you know what? People might say she's a diva or people might say she's difficult, but the reality is she just wants what's best for her client. She's going to do anything to get it. I want to hire those kind of people.
Is that something you've been thinking more about while restructuring, or just thinking about when you got here, I guess, or even at Barstool? Like, is that been how long?
Barstool was full of divas. Like everyone was a diva at Barstool by design. That's what made Barstool so special, is there were a lot of divas.
Mm-hmm.
Here, when I got here, there weren't a lot of divas. And there's still not a lot of divas to this day, to be honest with you, because it was a culture of fear.
I see.
And it was a culture of top-down conformity a little bit. It was editorial. You had to fit in the editorial vision. And that's why I found you, which is I'm like, I don't know, what should it look like? Go be a diva. Like, go make this into something it's not. I think by saying you're looking for divas doesn't mean you're looking for assholes and people who treat each other badly or treat other people badly. I do think it means you're dealing with people who will be frustrated if the quality bar isn't met. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I actually think learning from those folks, those are the best people to learn from.
I think the concept of diva, or them being described as diva, comes from because they're breaking the mold of the they're not conforming to the status quo of the company.
Yeah, and they're not accepting.
They're not, because they're more detail oriented, and it's like the details really make the difference.
That's
It's not.
Yep, exactly. To what we're talking about. Like, you've got to be willing to, people probably say I'm a diva. You know what I mean? Which is, I'm like, I don't really care. I like to work with other people. I like to teach people. I like to learn from people. But I care a lot about how good something is.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think it's good to surround yourself. It's good to work for people like that. I actually think if you work for divas, you get a shortcut in your career because they teach you more faster. They'll be harsher on you.
Yeah. You
not
learn.
In a nasty way, but in like no, that's not good enough. Do it again.
Yeah, it's just no nonsense.
Yeah,
it's no nonsense, and there's
a standard. You gotta get to the curve, to the standard.
Yeah.
All right. So our third current event story is that we have a record number of employees in America, equaling around 5.5%. Which is 8.9 million Americans who are currently employed in more than one job. I think what's funny about this is when you think about, someone has more than one job, you kind of get to, at least I do, get like, someone's trying to make ends meet. They go from one physical job to the next physical job to the next physical job. I used to do this. I used to work at like an ice cream shop. Then I would go be a busboy. Then I had another job. Like, I went from physical job to physical job. That's not what it means anymore. What it means now essentially is that people are often having more than one job at the same time at different places, and they're being able to balance and juggle the two. It's a gig economy. I was actually reading something the other day that was saying that we are moving into, in the future, what will almost be totally a gig economy, that the idea of full-time work will not be what it is today. So it's kind of interesting, like when you look at my parents or my grandparents, they worked at the same place for dozens of years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Now you're finding people are not working, people are working at multiple places. People are changing jobs a lot. And in the future, you'll find that people are just working on an ad hoc basis, which I actually think is really interesting. It's going to change taxes, right? It's going to change how people think about their time. It's going to change, if you think about the services to support people who have multiple different employers, the employment is intermittent, nothing is full-time, changes benefits. So I think it's going to be super interesting. I think this is a trend that is only going to accelerate.
Now work.
we are doing generational knowledge. We have Jenna here. Hi, Jenna. Jenna got plucked from the cube land over here, so poor Jenna. But you look great. We're excited to have you. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a good combo.
What do you do here?
I am on the brand partnerships team, so I'm
Okay.
an account manager working on pre-sale and getting partnerships with everybody.
And
in
what did you do
52.
before you came here?
I was in just regular media advertising at an agency.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I like people who come from agencies.
Yeah, got me ready for this job. For
100%.
sure.
Agencies are great training
Yeah.
grounds. I
You
think
get
it's
to,
a
like,
great first job.
do everything.
Was your first job at an agency?
No, it was actually at a similar food company
really?
doing social media. So I think that also
Huh.
kind of prepped me to wear a lot of hats and
Okay.
like, do a lot of production things.
Are you from
like that.
Chicago?
Yes.
You
Did
sound like
hear
you're
it?
from Chicago.
We were just talking about that too.
I love a Chicago accent. Ooh, I just sounded like I was from Chicago.
Yeah, you did.
you hear that?
Yeah, that
You
happens.
hit the A right.
I did, right?
Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so Jenna is an account manager, and Jenna's also 30.
Yes.
And our question for generational knowledge today is, does maintaining relationships outside of work feel like work to you? And
Yes.
do you think, yes.
Yes.
And do you think this is something that differs by generation?
I think so.
Is that because
Yes.
you're an introvert, or is that because, like, describe what it means to feel like work?
So I think not because I'm an introvert, and which I think I'm an extroverted introvert.
Okay.
And so, like, I definitely recharge with people, but I do appreciate the alone time. So I think, like, just, you know, I don't know, scheduling, hanging out with people is so difficult here just because everybody has all their little different communities.
Okay.
Which is what makes New York so great and just like any large city. So I think just like being able to schedule that time and like finding time where we can all get together is so difficult.
It's just
sometimes.
aggravating.
Yeah. It's like everybody's got a little thing like, oh, I can't do that this week. I've got like something
Yes,
so-and-so.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, like most recently, I had to have a shared calendar with like 5 different friends, and we all put in when we were free and when we were busy, and then that way we were like, okay, we have 3 dates in March that we can like actually hang out. Let's book it, and so we put it on the calendar, and it
That's
happened.
a good solution.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did you do it? Did you do it through an app, or did you just shared each other on your Google
It was
calendars?
an app, like a specific app.
Okay.
Was like designed so everybody could put in their like
Their
availability.
dates.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the app called?
I think it's like Squibbly or something.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I gotta look. I gotta confirm the
That's
name.
interesting. I
Yeah.
agree. I think scheduling friends can be a real pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And it almost, you just get exacerbated and you're like,
Yes.
forget it. I want to hang out that much anyways.
Yeah, and it also New York is large but also small,
Yep.
and you're like, do I want to travel all the way up to the like Upper East Side today? Do I want to stay in Brooklyn? So like you find yourself hanging out with your immediate friends that are like in your area,
In your
more.
vicinity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
'cause
like,
you're lazy.
wait, I have like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I can hang out with you for a little bit, and it makes it easier that way.
And what do you think people in my generation or other generations, how do you think they handle, why do you think this is, do you think this is unique to
Yeah,
millennials?
I think so. I mean, how did you go about scheduling like after?
Well, I didn't have a shared calendar.
So there we go. Well,
Okay,
that's something
all right,
that's new.
but-
That's a generational difference.
That's all right, a shared calendar with your friends, Sarthik, is a generational difference. I agree with that. But I don't think the feeling like you want to do something, yet the amount of effort you have to put into it can outweigh your desire to do something. I think that transcends
Yeah.
generations.
I think so. Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
think seeing your friends should feel easy. Like, I'm more in the impromptu. I've gotten to
Yeah.
the point where I'm like post friend, where I'm like, if it's easy and it works, great. If
Yeah.
it's not, forget it. I'll see you in a year.
Well, it's also like you need both parties to put in the effort too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, are you willing to, you know, sacrifice like a certain event that you like always go to be able to hang out with a
Mm-hmm.
friend because that's when they're free.
I also think it's interesting when you're single because your life also changes a lot based on who you're dating or if you're
Yeah.
dating, and you know, I think that adds its own element, which isn't a generational thing, but it is an age and stage thing.
Yes.
Like if you're seeing someone and you want to see them all the time, you know, maybe you blow off your girlfriends more than you used to, but
Mm-hmm.
then you break up and then you're like, wait, I want to hang out all the time. So I
Yeah.
think that's a little bit too, you know?
I've also heard you talk about how, like, in your early 20s, like, you were, like, working really hard, but then also you were, like, having fun and enjoying yourself at the same time. I feel like in my generation, like Gen Z, millennial cusp, or more Gen Z, it's like there is this need to prove ourselves, and like work is a personality for a lot of people. So just enjoying life isn't as like, it's not as freeing. It feels like, yeah, at least for me, I guess that's a personal thing, but maybe you can agree or disagree to that.
Yeah, I think
She's like, no, you're a freak. So I totally disagree. So, but wait, so sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, Jenna, real quick.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're saying, Sarth, that you feel so much pressure to be, work is an identity, right? You want to be really great at work.
And you also see a lot of people just constantly through social media, like everyone's on their phone constantly. So you see a lot of people's achievements because that's what
that's all anybody shows you.
Yeah, that's all anybody
and so
shows
it
you.
makes you feel pressure to be doing something productive
you feel
with
the
yourself.
FOMO of not being successful.
Is much bigger.
I think so. And
100%.
Yeah, and that makes kind of spending time with friends, quality time, which is needed,
And important.
can sometimes at least feel for
Like
me
non-productive.
not productive at all.
Yeah.
It's like I could be doing so much more for my career or for my life or
Yeah.
for my future, where this is good and fun,
And
but
like slacking off.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you feel like that?
I don't. I
Okay.
feel like that time, that break with my friends is that recharge to be able to do my best work and to be able to like propel myself. Just because they like let my mind like fully turn off, like my closest friends, we can just like talk about the stupidest stuff and we're just like hanging out. And then I feel like it also like teaches me how to work with people better here and just like in a more, work environment. So then I just like understand other people's personalities a little bit more. But yeah, I do really find that recharge time is so important to be able to like show up 100% every day.
See, I'm more in the Sarthic camp. I'm
Yeah.
more like, ooh, I could be creating something, writing something, doing something. I
Yeah.
should be exercising.
Yeah.
I should be doing a better job of insert blank here. That it gnaws at you when you're doing things that aren't quote unquote productive.
yeah, and that's why I kind of like thought of this topic where it feels like hanging out with friends can feel like work, because it's like your scheduling thing. What you mentioned, like sharing calendars, that is scheduling. Where earlier, when I guess like college, when I wasn't really thinking this way, and I was a lot more like, oh, just whatever, go with the flow type of guy. I wasn't so like, my time didn't feel as valuable as it does now. So it feels like work, like, okay, like you said, like I should be working out, or I should be bettering myself for my career, or fill in the blank,
Something,
just
yeah.
slate it in. That time, even with friends, it's like, I got to slate that in.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, I can just get up and be like, okay, let's go do this.
Do you feel like you could bring your friends along for those moments of like where you're feeling productive? Like maybe it is, I don't know, taking a class or something. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, do you want to come along with me so we can like group the two together? So you're like both bettering yourselves, but then also
I like a
building
2 for
that.
1.
Yeah.
I like a 2 for 1 too,
like,
but
I'd
maybe
like to
Get the
work
most
out
out of
and
the
see my girlfriends.
situation.
but maybe
Yeah.
they don't like whatever activity you're
And
doing.
sometimes it's solitary. you
Yeah.
know?
As somebody who did just move to New York, like it's been a little over a year since I've been here, and you've been here for a little longer. Like, how long did it take you to find like a good friend group that you could be like, okay, I can turn my brain off and they help me recharge, instead of it feeling like what it feels for me right now, where I'm like,
Yeah.
it's taking away my time for work.
I was lucky where I did have a good, like 3 groups of friends that when I moved here, so those were like my immediate, family. But it did take me a little bit of time, I would say like a year and a half, to feel like I had a strong community outside of just who I already knew back from home. And it is tough. Like making friends as an adult is not easy.
That's a
because
lot of work.
it's just like either are you faking it or are you like
Yeah,
actually
then you have to
wanting-
maintain it.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
you got to go on a date.
Yeah.
You're,
A lot
you
of friend
date
dates.
I used to go on a lot of friend dates.
I think those are more awkward than regular dates.
1,000,000% because you actually want them to like you.
Yeah, right.
You know?
There's like no reason not to get along.
Yes.
But yeah, I think, friendships are really tough as an adult. You're
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like, we're all in different life, timelines and what we want out of life too. And it's like, are your morals the same? Like,
Your
it truly-
values the same. It's a little
Yeah,
bit different.
yeah.
And I think there's a big feeling of FOMO. I think that
Yes.
actually is one of the greatest drivers of generational difference is the amount of, I don't know if pressure is the right word,
Yeah.
but perspective. You see so much of other people who are like you.
Yeah.
It's disturbing almost.
Yeah, I think also it's even taking out time to reply back to text messages to like friends back home or even in the city. It's like everyone is so busy. It's like I'm having a conversation over a period of a week.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
It's very scattered.
Yeah, it's all scattered.
Yeah.
So that is something that I feel like is very new to this generation, like to me. And I find myself even as I've gotten used to it or not, like just coming up with, growing up with technology and like how I used to interact with social media. And now I interact with social media or even texting. It's like evolved to the point like, I don't respond as quickly as I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Like,
right.
do you
It's
feel like you're
saturated.
catching up with people by
Yes.
just knowing what they're doing on social media?
Yes,
'Cause I feel like that is,
that.
Oh, interesting. So that kind of
something.
supplants friendship, which is like your current.
yeah.
It's like this unsaid thing of like, oh, like, I know how you're doing because I keep seeing on your story like what you recently did, but we haven't talked. So like,
Right.
without and similarly for them to me, and it's like, oh, we don't have to have that like, oh, so what's been happening? Because we know what's been happening. So in a way, it's nice too because you can like dig
You have
deeper.
something to talk about. Yeah.
You have something to talk about, and you can just like kind of avoid the surface level small talk of like, oh,
Right.
how you been? It's been so long, because like, you know how they've been.
Yeah, I feel like those friendships where it's like you could go months without talking to them and you're still best friends are more prevalent
Those are the great.
now.
Yeah, those are great.
Just
friendships.
because of like social media, and you're just like, I know what you're kind of up to, and hoping nothing like crazy is happening behind the scenes, but it's just more.
But then to that point, I feel like there's also people who are like get offended if
Yeah.
you don't like keep up with them, check in with them every day or every other day because they are too online, chronically online, and you're not. So if you don't tag them,
ditch those people. That's
no,
those people
exactly.
sound
Yeah, those. But you find yourself when you're trying to make friends, you
Yeah.
run into those type
Yeah,
of people,
and
and then
you're
you're
like,
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 30's an interesting age where you're like, do I want to be friends with that? Or like, do I
Yeah,
want to put
30,
in that
you're getting to
effort?
the point of like, this might not be a great
Yeah,
friendship
you're a little
for me.
bit more selfish.
Yes.
You're like, I appreciate my time.
You're
and
making
I-
your circle smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think it's selfish. I actually think you just know yourself better
Yeah.
and you become less, not open, but less tolerant in a way because you have other stuff that you're actually interested in or you've kind of reached, I think, a deeper level in yourself of like what feeds you and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Like I spent a lot of time in my 20s in friendships that I feel like were not the healthiest. But I didn't mind because it was just companionship and having someone to go out with. That was important. And
Yeah.
when you get into your 30s, it gets a little more soulful maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jenna, thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
that
of
was great. I
course.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you have any work advice while we're here?
Oh, work advice.
Or keeping friend advice?
Work advice, I think, honestly, for both work and friendships, showing up like 100% you is the only way to do it and the only way to communicate well with others and just like get a project done or hang out together and feel like you're connecting more as a person. It's like the only way I've been able to connect with people.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
I
of
appreciate
course.
it.
Now work.
All right, so our teaching segment is how do you make the most of your job in advertising? We chose this one because Jenna from Generational Knowledge cut her teeth in advertising. I cut my teeth in advertising. Advertising has changed so much. when you think about what is advertising, right? It's branding, it's communication, it is the perception of a brand, it's the values, it's the color, it's the sound, it's the feeling that a brand creates. And I love advertising, and advertising has been through incredible highs and incredible lows. I think advertising is more technical than ever and more challenged than ever. It's more technical than ever because it is now driven by algorithms and math and computational equations about how many times somebody needs to see a bunch of pixels on a page to be able to do something, right? When you think about the majority of advertising happens on Google and Facebook. It doesn't happen in a magazine anymore. It doesn't happen on television any longer. It doesn't happen out of home. You're seeing a burgeoning effort in advertising to be more experiential, right? Reaching people IRL and being able to connect with people one-on-one, because as you can imagine, and I'm sure people agree with, it's hard to create an emotional feeling from a 300 by 250 graphic unit on a page on Facebook. So advertising has really changed. When I first started my career in the late 90s, it was all about television, right? It was about print. It was like very expensive, big things that you would spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on, and there weren't that many of them. So the impact that every print ad had, or the impact that every TV commercial created, was insanely high. And now, obviously, there's so much fragmentation. Magazines are essentially gone. Television, nobody watches it anymore besides like your grandparents and live sports. And so advertising has changed really dramatically. Advertising agencies have been really challenged in this time, right? So when I started my career, I worked at a creative agency that then merged with a media agency, and then they broke back apart into creative versus media agencies. So agencies make their money on fees. There's all types of people that work at ad agencies. You have account managers, you have research people, you have the creatives, those are the divas. You have the media people, those are typically women. They're kind of bitchy. They go out to lunch and drinks all the time. In my early years, this was like the smoke and have like a cocktail lunch every day crowd. The media people tend to be good at math. Now you have digital people, you have graphic designers, you obviously have copywriters, you have people that do traffic, which is how one thing gets to another place. So an ad agency is a little bit like a hive. Ad agencies make their money based on fees, and ad agencies can be owned as part of bigger holding companies. So you could work in one creative agency and have 5 other sister agencies that are working for a big holding company. The whole goal there is to create scale and efficiency for the agency to make more money by charging clients premiums and then being able to have as low cost a workforce as possible to get that work done. The other big change in ad agencies is obviously so much is offshore, right? Which is that didn't happen when I was first starting my career. But now when you look at ad agencies, similar to a lot of companies, they do their editing in South America, they do their finance in India, they do their account management in Chicago, but everything else they're doing all over the world. Ad agencies are now PR agencies, they're now consultancies, they're now strategy companies. So there's all sorts of jobs. I think having an ad agency job is a great start to your career if you want to work in a creative environment or you're interested in working in marketing. You are not going to make any money. It is a dismal, dismal paycheck. The silver lining to that is you do get entertained a lot, and there's a lot of free stuff, and you get to work on a wide variety of projects. So those are all positives. The other thing that's good about working, I think, at an ad agency early in your career is you're not in control. And you are at the whim of what your manager or what your client wants, and you have to deliver it. It teaches you to work at pace. It teaches you to work for difficult people. It teaches you to be able to multitask and work on a whole bunch of things at once. It teaches you that shit can go wrong and you lose an account and you lose your job, or you gain an account and you get a promotion. It's very, very, very volatile. And then ad agencies are typically full of very young people. So you get an opportunity to work and have fun at the same time, which I think is really important. And you also get a lot of opportunity to be self-taught and to have self-motivation, because nobody there knows a whole lot more than you do. So that's working at an ad agency 101.
Now work.
Okay, we're doing Strategery, and today's Strategery word is voluntold, which I love the word voluntold. I am a huge volunteller. What is the description of voluntold? Voluntold is a tongue-in-cheek term used to describe a situation where you are assigned or obligated to do something at work without having the opportunity to decline or express your preference. Being too busy or uninterested is simply irrelevant when you are voluntold. Voluntold is having a boss, and the boss is going to tell you what you have to do and does not care if you want to do it, don't want to do it, have the ability to do it, could care less about doing it. They don't care. They just want it done. I think it's kind of an interesting word that is fairly new, because I feel like sometimes at work, everything should be a negotiation and everything is a discussion. And I think one of the things that are happening a little bit in power dynamics at work is when someone tells someone else that they have to do something, the someone else thinks it's negotiable, optional, or subjective, versus being something that's mandatory, objective, and needs to get done. So I like the word voluntold. I think it's funny. I think it's speaking to some of the tension that's happening at work and happening in the workforce. And I also think it is a reality, which is if you are going to work and get a paycheck and not work for yourself, you are going to have someone who is telling you what you do. And therefore, it's not volunteer. It's work. It's being told.
Now work.
Parting thoughts. All right, we're retitling things I'm struggling with at work to parting thoughts. My parting thoughts today. I think it's kind of scary sometimes to create something new, and you have a lot of self-doubt and like, ooh, is this going to take off, or is this going to be a thing? I'm certainly feeling that a little bit now of like, okay, we've created this pivot, we've created all these change, now we have all these naysayers, people don't think we can do it. What happens if we mess up? What if we take the wrong path? And I actually think it's a really good way to feel. When I joined Barstool Sports, there were so many people who had such a visceral reaction to doing it that I was like, hey, I have no choice here but to be successful. And I actually feel a little bit that way now. And I think that's a good way to feel in your life, and certainly at work, which is, hey, I only have one choice right now, is to try to make something out of this as best we can. We had so many screw ups over the last week, and some were really careless and stupid, like it was not a perfect pivot. And I think that's okay. Like I talk about this all the time, like fail always mode. Like you've got to be trying things and doing things, and you're not going to get it right. And the only thing that's wrong is not acknowledging what was wrong. And I think it's such a healthy place to be. It's exhausting. It's a lot of like it's humbling. It's a lot of like putting aside your ego or your experience or what you think you know to be creating something new. I'm really excited about people. I think that's the other piece, is like it really, really, really comes down to people. And I'm spending a lot of time thinking about how do I create the right environment for people, and what are those right types of people? How do I find more divas? How do I get those divas to be able to be effective, but also not toxic? Like that line is like a whole line now that never used to be there. So those are all the things I'm talking about, but I'm excited about it. So I'm leaving you now. We will be back here next Monday. We have 2 special guests and a funny story. These guys have been emailing me since 2016. Small side note, which is so funny. So I'm excited for them to come on. They're going to pitch me their new company. And that's it. So we'll see you next week. Subscribe, give us a rating, lend us a review, tell us your thoughts, and we will go from there.